Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nutrition. Richard again is my name and I am the strength and conditioning coach. I have also studied sports nutrition and I am not a registered dietitian or a nutritionist, but I do have quite a lot of experience in nutrition or with nutrition. So the guidance I'm going to give you today is based on what a diet is, a healthy one, and how to use MyFitnessPal to guide you towards a healthy diet. I'd like you to highlight that a diet is not about weight loss. And as the quote here says, it's the kind of food that a person, animal, or community habitually eats. Really, really important that you eat it repeatedly. So we usually eat the same kind of foods over, say, a 1 week, 2 week period, and those foods stay the same. But what I'd really like to talk about is the portion sizes of those foods. And I think if we can nail this down, we can all have a really healthy diet. Um, in the last presentation, it really highlighted to me on sugar when we spoke about the diet at the moment with adolescents is based around sugary drinks and sugary foods and processed foods and foods that don't give you enough nutrient density. So when you eat something, how much nutrient value is actually in that food? So I'd like to highlight a few of these things with this presentation. So I wanted to go to a couple of our main sports stars. And the first one I will talk about is Katie Taylor. So I got this from skysports.com and I just did a little bit of research and had a look at what kind of foods that she eats. So if you have a look, she says here during a training camp in the mornings, I usually eat porridge, berries, fruits, and honey. So porridge, that's your carbohydrates, berries, loads of vitamins and minerals in berries, and there's also a carbohydrate along with fruit, and then honey. So she's training hard, she needs that energy, so that's an all carb based breakfast. Here we have greens, so loads of vitamins and minerals in here, and it's carbohydrate, more energy and protein repairing and restoring your muscles with the two chicken breasts. Okay. And then she says that in between sessions it's important to get her carbs and her protein. And as far as protein, I love a bit of salmon. So salmon, we've got our bit of fat in there, healthy fats, as well as your protein, chicken as well. And she eats regularly 3 meals a day. So she's got that controlled 3 square meals and she's organized and planned. In the evening could be a bit of protein, so she might snack in some sort of protein snack. Um, and then lastly, that's her. Okay, so then I wanted to go to another one. This is a girl who is going to represent Ireland and does represent Ireland in the European Games there. This is Kira. So Kira McGee. So Kira McGee is, I got this from the 42.ie and she's going to be hopefully representing Ireland in the athletics. She is a psychologist. This is what kind of level she's at. She's a sports psychologist. She has a nutritionist. She has a strength and conditioning coach, and she's trained to be a physio herself. So there she is kicking ass. Right. So what I wanted to highlight here was this end bit of the article where she says, here we are. The lads were laughing because we had a wee cup of tea and a croissant here. So she's at the top game. She's at the best. She's the best of the best, and she's eating a croissant. And she says, "I suppose you won't eat a croissant." She laughs, okay, to the other competitors. Um, and I was like, "Lads, I'm hungry. I'll eat anything." Okay, so her relationship to food is really, really good because, as you'll see as we go through it, she obviously has spoken to a nutritionist. She's nailed down her carbohydrate level or carbohydrate macros that she needs. She's nailed down her protein that she needs, and she's nailed down her fats that she needs. And outside of that, she's allowed, because she's training so hard, to have her um, snacks in between meals. So she says, I do have a healthy diet. I went into my cupboard at home. If you went into my cupboard at home and fridge, um, everything is fresh. Okay, so no processed foods. I'm very much into having fresh fruit and veg and meats. So carbs, and protein. I get a combination of protein from all my foods. I have animal protein, great, and plant protein. So all the amino acids that you need in your different types of protein for your muscles. I have a good mix of a healthy diet. What else does she say? Oh, I like this as well. Anytime I go to my nutritionist, she said you need to eat more. So how many calories is she getting? A big issue with adolescents is not eating enough food. So you're not actually getting enough food, calories in for your body then to take all the nutrition value out of it. So undereating is a big issue, and it's really important that we eat enough of the right food. Okay, so for breakfast she has granola, although my coach would prefer to eat porridge because granola has too much sugar in it, based on my last presentation on sugar. We highlighted that. Sometimes when I'm with Jerry or coach, I'll smash a whole bowl of porridge. Great. I love Gleninal Farm from Cork, which is a really nice source of protein. I think that's a yogurt. It's like soft cheese, but it doesn't taste like cheese. She has it with fruit, berries, and grapes. Okay, maybe a bit of granola on top. And then she'll have 2 slices of wheaten bread before she goes for a run. So based on, I think it was the third week, I spoke about scheduling of food. So before she eats, she has some carbohydrates before she goes. And then after that, I'll have a second breakfast. So she's really loading those calories in of really good calories. For my lunch, it's usually leftover dinner from the night before. So she's not watching exactly what she's eating. She could have lasagna there, she could have a stew, she could have a mixed bowl of curry or chili or something like that. So she hasn't segmented her plate into, boiled chicken breast, steamed broccoli, and X amount or X grams of rice. It's a mix there, but she understands how the breakdown of the nutrition value of that food. Um, I'm constantly grazing and snacking throughout the day, and I'll always be grazing on nuts, seeds, and anything like that. After dinner, I have a terrible sweet tooth. I'll have a bit of with a shortbread biscuit, okay, before she goes to bed. I'm like a squirrel. I don't eat a lot, but I eat one or two. So she's the type of person that can eat 2 biscuits and put the rest away. So she has in her head controlled a really good relationship with her diet, where she can say, I can have some of this, but I'm not going to have too much of it, because, and then she has an overall goal. So it's really important that we have our goals set in place and then design them into a habit of how we're going to live our life. So she'll have her week planned out of when she's going to train, when she's going to eat, and an overall goal of what she's striving for. And there's no reason, whether you're sporty or not, you can't have the exact same thing. The last one I'm going to click on is Reese here. Reese is also representing Ireland in gymnastics, and he's already won a gold medal for the Commonwealth Games. Okay, so um, this guy is unbelievable talent, and I'll just go over what he does. And what I'd like to highlight is top stars and their similarity towards their nutrition. Okay, so typically he'd have 3 eggs, so protein, wholemeal toast, so you've got your carbohydrates, or Weetabix, or porridge with some fruit. Okay, lunch, anything at high in protein. He's basing his meals around protein and then carbohydrates around that. So chicken wrap, the wrap will be your carbohydrate. Sometimes on the menu for breakfast. Okay, so he, like, everyone's getting their breakfasts in. It's really, really important. They're not just running out the door with nothing in them, because they can't perform that way, whether it's sports or going to school. Important because I need my body to recover and maintain energy prior to session. So they're really prioritizing and organizing their day. They're training for their goals and they're creating habits. I train 30 hours plus a week, need plenty of fuel. Best meal is steak, so he has his carbs. Mashed potato on the side, a bit. So a bit is important. He understands his portion size of his macronutrient carbohydrates. Green veg and peppercorn sauce, which is going to be high in fat, but again, no problem. You want to enjoy your food and have a good relationship towards it. Has his pepperoni pizza every now and then, which we should all be able to do. Have you ever been on a diet? How did it go? No, I've never been on a diet running up to competitions. I'm more careful with that when I'm eating. I want to be in top physical condition, goal orientated. Um, to be honest, I don't really like junk food takeaways. Okay. And no, he doesn't take supplementations, just as an FYI, because he gets all his food from his nutrients. Okay. Um, where did I want to go from here? So, having said all those things, now I want to talk about, we do need to understand about calories and how many calories you should have for your body type. So I use this here, because we're all different types, we're all different sizes. TDEEcalculator.net. Okay, so it's total daily energy expenditure calculator, and then you'll put in you can just fill this out as much as you can, and then it'll break down how many calories you need today. I don't want you, I just want to stress this, I don't want you to live your life according to looking up a phone and seeing if you've hit your calories. Okay, it's how you're feeling and what your energy levels are like. So I just made this for you guys. So let's say I'm a 16-year-old, let's say female. Okay, I'm 100 and I have it here. Let's say 5'4" is 164. So 164. Okay, weigh 70 kgs, and let's recalculate. Oh, that's it. Okay, so 2,300. If I had said you were, let's say, heavier or lighter, recalculate, you'll need less calories. And if you are, let's say, 80 calories, strong as an ox, 2,400. So I'm going to say you're 70 calories. Recalculate that. And then you'll see here, if I come down, so your basal metabolic rate. So if you were to lie in bed and literally do nothing based on the stats that you've just given me here, that's how many calories you need. 1,484 calories just to live. Okay. We can increase or decrease your energy level. So sedentary here, light exercise, moderate exercise, heavy exercise, and you're an athlete. So I said sedentary for the moment. If you're going to increase to moderate exercise, 3 to 5 times exercise, you're looking at 2,300 calories, and that's what you'd need. So this is the calorie intake that I would now put into MyFitnessPal. Okay, here. So you've created your profile. Okay, and I want you to basically ignore all of these. You don't need them. I don't want you to get obsessed with this app. Okay, so my goal is 2,300. What I've eaten for the day will come up here. If you've added exercise, you can add exercise under this tab, and it'll take that away from your total, and you might need more calories therefore. And what I want to pay attention to here is our goals. Okay, so on the app you'll have your goals, and I'll be able to edit this, and I can put in whatever calories. So let's say I'm bigger, I'll need more calories, and it'll break down. But how do we know what the ratio is here? How do we know which one's the correct ratio of how much carbohydrates or not we should have? Okay, so for that I did a little bit of research, and you can go to the HSE website if you want, Healthy Eating Living. That'll give you some good articles and blog kind of style writing there about what to eat. But I found really good website was the British Nutrition Foundation, and they give you lovely detailed information, and I downloaded a PDF here, and it speaks about calorie intake and how much calories are required for children and for adults. Okay, so for here, nutritional required, estimated average requirements for children and estimated require for adults. So if I scroll down just a little bit so you can kind of see a bit of both, and from the ages here, so we have our calories, kilocalories. You can also measure calories in joules, but just so you can ignore those lines. This for males and this for females. So if I am a 13-year-old, on average, you will need 2,414 calories. If you are a female, you will need 2,223. And a 17-year-old, 3,000 average, 2,4. Okay. What I noticed when I was going through this was the difference. So if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old, you need 2,9, 3,000, 3,1, 2,4, 2,4, 2,4. Like, as you get older, you actually need less. Okay, so just compare. So for my age, I actually need less than a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old. And the same for females. They'll need less. So the older you get, the less you'll need. And it just goes to highlight how important getting calories is. Good nutrient dense calories when you're older. During this phase, it makes sense. This is the period of time that you will be growing. Your brains are developing. You will be learning more. Your body is continuously getting bigger and stronger. Muscles are growing, bones are getting bigger. And so to think then that you're not, or there is currently an issue with body shaming and just not getting enough calories and eating wrong foods, it's really important that you guys get nutrient dense food that will then last you for the rest of your life. So I just want to highlight at that point. So from there, now we know what our calories are, and then I also found that I want to know how many carbohydrates do I need to input in here. Do I want to put in, back in MyFitnessPal here, do I want to put in 30 grams of carbohydrates? Do I want to put in 40? And then according to this, carbohydrates should be 50%. And based on my research, that's correct. So, sorry, based on my research, it's 50 to 60%. So I originally gave guidelines for 60% carbohydrates in a previous video. So I'm going to put in 55. So between what they said 50% and previous recommendations that I've been giving, it was 60%. I'm going to say 55%. The fats it should not exceed 35 here. So total fat should not be more than 35. And I want to base our meals around protein. So I'm going to put protein at 25%, which leaves us at 20% for our fats. Okay, but really the two that I want to pay attention to are carbohydrates and our proteins. Okay, and once we nail those down, then we know how many grams we're going to get. So I'm really looking to nail these figures down. So when we go back to our page where we go back to home, is it home? No, it's food, sorry, in food. And we go food diary, which is here. We can highlight how much of each of the foods. So this is for today. I'm recording this video today, March 3rd. So I'm going to go back one day and we'll work it off yesterday. So I've been tracking. And I'll scroll down. So you can see for what I've had for breakfast. There I had porridge, banana. So I choose a little bit of a tiny bit of walnuts, sugar, honey, and then your milk. And it came out at X number of calories, which I'm not really relevant at the moment. I'm worried about carbs, 73 grams, and my protein, 11, and fats were 11. And I'll do the same for my lunch. I had an omelette, I think. Threw some stuff in there, mushrooms, broccoli, onions. Threw some green lentils in there, really high in protein. It was great. And then I had a baguette later on as a snack with some mayonnaise and some ham from Lidl. And then the boiled chicken was for dinner. I just put it in the wrong section. I should have put it in dinner section. And I had some, it wasn't actually boiled, but it was a curry. So it was put in with like a broth sauce. So it was curry, but that's the closest I could get. So I just put it down: boiled chicken, rice, broccoli, green beans, coconut milk, and there were some spices in there, but they didn't have any calories, so I didn't include them. And then I threw some courgette on top as well. And then I had an apple to finish. Okay, so that was my lunch yesterday. So my goal was to get 55. So I was slightly over on my carbs. So I got to have a look at my portion size. But I pretty much nailed it, but a tiny bit over. Protein, 22%. I would have liked to increase that. So what I actually thought I had too much protein. So now I know I need to have that bit more. And fats, pretty much spot on with 20%. And I didn't really do anything in regard to fats. I barely had any fats. I had that Hellmann's mayonnaise. Coconut milk has a bit of fat in it. As you can see here, so 4 in the coconut milk. The Hellmann's mayonnaise, 6. And where else? That's kind of it. And it's so easy to hit your fats. So because they're higher calorie content. So really pay attention, just your macros getting in line, and the rest should follow in. So I need to eat more protein, and I need to eat a tiny bit less carbohydrates. And I've already lowballed my carbohydrates. So to think that it's coming down, I've gone over it, just highlights how quickly you can. And I'm not really training at the moment, so I don't want to afford going over too much on my carb intake. So they were the main thing. So we're using it as understanding our macronutrients and how to, going forward, that's what I want you to use it for. Then the goal, actually, to finish this off, the goal is that once I understand my portion sizes after, say, 2 weeks of doing this, you can delete this app. You don't need it anymore. Okay, because you eat the same foods as I said, usually over a 2-week period. So your goal then is just to keep eating the same portion sizes and having a good relationship with your foods. I hope this video helps. Once you've nailed down your nutrient dense foods and your favorite recipes and breaking them down as to how much nutrient value is in them, going forward you won't need the app, and you can pay attention to enjoying your food and having a good relationship. And if you need that croissant like Kira does here, or an extra little biscuit in the eating times, you can do that, knowing that your training is or you're just being active will modify any extra little snacks that you have, but you've got a really healthy diet. So I hope this was really helpful for you, and I'll chat to you next week. Thanks, guys.